The goal we set in the department as an ELA was classroom environment. And so, in bringing CKLA to life, and when we came in and did an observation this week, I loved how you was dressed up as a goddess as you introduced your new unit on the Roman civilization. Can you tell me how was that experience for you and how did it impact your students?
I can tell you that as soon as the students came in, they were really excited. And they kept asking me, why are you wearing it? Why do you have that on? And I said, oh, wait, you're going to learn. We're going to be traveling today and we're going to go to a new place. So I think it really brought them into the lesson and it made it really alive for them.
Oh, that's good. I know they were excited. I can tell you were, I mean, you had everything decked out. And so it's good to hear that the way you preface it, like, okay, we're going somewhere new. So you set the tone for the unit and letting them know that today you're learning something different and something new. We're in there, as we was looking through the lesson, I noticed that you had a video on and I heard Ms. Gatan was narrating the video. Very awesome how you guys allow the students to really hear from other teachers and familiar voices that they have when they were narrating. So in the lesson, tell me, how do you use modeling within your lessons?
I try to use it to show the students exactly what they're going to be doing before they start doing it so that they don't have any surprises while they are doing an activity.
Okay. So let's talk about the purpose of modeling. So when we talk about explicit instruction, we're talking about demonstrating what we expect students and want students to do. And so, do you remember in your lesson what happened when the students were listening? What was going on when the students was listening to the video being played? Do you remember what you had the students doing?
They were filling out a chart. This chart, as they were listening to her tell them some information about different parts of Rome, and they were filling out the chart as they were listening.
So that I felt would have been a great moment for you to actually model what you expected the students to put on the chart as they were listening to the information. Actually, what you expected the information and how it should look on the chart. So I wanted us to take just a little quick moment and try to role play that out where you actually model what you expect the students to do when they have their chart. So I'm going to be the students and you of course are going to be you. So I have my paper and
Right. So I'm going to use this and I'm going to show you what I expect the students to do. So they had their chart and it had a column that they already filled out, and then it had images in the middle, and then the other column that they were filling out as we were reading. So on this side, what I should have had the students do was, as I stopped the video, they were putting in new information. We were talking about Rome and we were on at the Colosseum. So instead of me just having them verbalize what they were hearing that was a fact about Rome, I should have stopped and showed my chart and wrote down the facts on the chart with them.
So that was good. That's where I felt like we can really impact our students when we actually are modeling and showing and doing that explicit instruction on what we want to do, really demonstrating what we want the students to gather from the information that we're getting. So they were listening, so you were able to get those students who were able to listen to what you wanted them to hear. But when you talk about the transfer now on paper, I think it would have been very good for you to just actually model that like 2,000 years ago. And so having them, you actually write it, and then as a student, we go and write it. So as we get ready to prepare for next week's lesson, let's look at lesson 6 to see where in lesson 6 can we actually have that explicit instruction on that modeling piece.
Okay.
So where do you think in the lesson is a good place where it will lend for us to show some modeling?
So I'm thinking if we go to the speaking and listening part on page 135 and 136,
Okay.
we can put some modeling in that section.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, because I know that there's some questions that need to be asked and answered, so I'm thinking I'll create a chart that's gonna have 4 different squares in it. Maybe like this. A line straight down the middle and then 4 different boxes. And then in each box I'll put a different question. And as I am going through the read aloud with the students, I will stop. I will talk to them about the question, and then I'll write down answers to the question as they are writing down answers on their charts.
Okay. So that opportunity for the students to actually see what you want in the response to those questions in the activity.
Yes.
So that chart will be there. And so we look at the questions. One of them is, what do students think daily life was like for the Romans? So when they are learning about this unit, that's a great chart that we can have posted and have where students can refer back to. So remember, we talked a lot about anchor charts, but we talked about the knowledge piece of the anchor chart. So that right there will give us a great example of a knowledge anchor chart once you complete that chart for students with those questions. So I think that is a great place to put there for modeling. So let's take a little sticky note and maybe just write, there is where we will model. So when you're going through the lesson, then you know that that place is where you will model for the students. So
Okay.
that was good. Let's kind of recap real quick what we discussed in this time. So, and what's the next action step? Can you tell me what's the next action step for you?
So the next action step for me would be to make sure I am modeling as I am teaching my students information so that they can have the anchor charts around the room that have the knowledge piece.
Yeah, because I do believe that with that is really going to impact their understanding of the content that we're teaching, and also be able to go back and to refer, because we always want students to have something to refer back to whenever they're assessing or going over any information. That information will be there. And so just remember that always, that modeling is giving that explicit instruction that we want students to learn. So I'm excited, and I will be back next week to see how lesson 6 worked for you with the modeling piece and how did it impact your students.